Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Shake Sales. You're in season 3. We got Donald Kelly. We're going to talk about LinkedIn outreach. Donald's been in the sales evangelist space for 15 plus years. Donald, welcome, dude.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you letting me on and being here. I know how it is when you have a podcast and you're being selective of who you bring onto the show. So the fact that I made it past the guards this level, I feel honored. So thank you.
My pleasure. Well, don't disappoint. Don't mess it up, right?
Dang it.
Well, let's just jump right in. So LinkedIn, very effective. Just to be clear, let's set the stage. Effective for B2B sales. In my opinion, it's the most effective channel. We use it for sales for ourselves, building our brands, what have you. But I want to hear from you. What's your approach? How do you use it? How do you leverage it? Do's, don'ts.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, and for many different reasons. One of the biggest thing that I would probably share with LinkedIn right now is since the pandemic, email outreach has doubled, and reply rates has decreased by 30%. Email outreach went up by 50%, and reply rates has decreased by 30%. So people are not responding to emails as much as they used to, and we see this as this nuance. When it comes towards LinkedIn, it's very, very important to be able to take advantage of it because this is where our prospects are hanging out. And one of the things that I learned from HubSpot's inbound last year was that 44% of executives say that they discover new solutions through platforms like LinkedIn. 44%. As opposed to going and searching on Google because their peers are there and they're able to get better insight. So the key that I found is that salespeople need to be present. They need to be there. And the last stat to help you set this up, only about 4 to 5, maybe about 3 to 5% of LinkedIn users right now, they have over 1 billion users and about 500 million of those people are active. Only about 3 to 5% of those people are actually posting regularly on the platform. So it's there for the taking for the sellers who do it appropriately. But then the key is like, how do I do this now? I might be sharing a blog from my company, but what can I do to grab somebody's attention? And that's the preface of why I like it so much. And I'm sure we'll get tactical real quick now.
Yeah, let's jump in. So what are you doing? What's working? What's not? I get it. LinkedIn better than email.
Sure. The first place that comes back to it is the outreach to connect with the person. More than likely, oftentimes people send out connection requests and it's a dumb connection request, like saying such that I see that you're in like a mutual connection, let's connect. That does not work. What I found that works the most effectively these days, and some people are in the camp as well, where they say they just send out the connection request and they, without doing an invite. And that's okay. If you want to do that, that's yours. But I'm firmly in the camp that you need to use a personalized connection request message. And here's one of the reasons. LinkedIn start charging for connection requests now. And if anyone have seen this, you can get 3 non-personalized outreach, and their data, obviously they're collecting stuff to be able to know that if you send something, it increases the chance of the person responding back to you. In that connection request message, I never pitch my product or my service, but that connection request, I go back and look at something that you're sharing. I use Sales Navigator. So I start off my conversation, and whatever outreach tool you're using, you can integrate, but I use Sales Navigator to build my list. And when I build my list, and that I specifically look for people who are posting on my ICP, that are posting on the platform, and that are active in their, that shows me that they're active on LinkedIn. So within the past month, 30 days, have shared something on LinkedIn. If somebody cares enough to share something on LinkedIn in the past 30 days, that tells me that there's something that matters most to them. And I might go look at that post, and I'll use that post as a way to be able to start the conversation or dialogue. Specifically on that post, obviously I engage with it, and you can use the thumbs up thing, but I try to be different, and I'll probably use like the cheering or clapping of whatever the post might be. And then I make sure I ask a question on that post. So for you, I might say, maybe it's a post that you guys say, hey, we're growing, we're expanding. I might ask, hey, out of curiosity, are you guys looking for people remote or a specific location? You're more than likely going to respond to that at least grab your attention. That's all that I want. And then I send a personalized connection request that ties very closely with that. I might say, Sanjun, I saw that you guys commented on your posts about you guys hiring. Really curious, have some folks in my network that probably be looking. Permission to connect here on LinkedIn. The idea of asking a specific question with that connection request, I've seen increase the rate of people responding back to me, because we've all been programmed since kids that whenever somebody asks you a question, respond, as opposed to something dumb like, hey, I want to connect with you. It may connect with you, but there's a fact that they start the conversation. And the goal that I want is to start dialogue with you as soon as possible. And questions allow me to do that. So on your post, I would engage, but don't say something dumb. Awesome post. ask a meaningful question that prompt the person to be able to reply, because nobody, absolutely nobody on this planet is going to post pieces of content and want no one to engage on it. So use that, and then use that to be able to use the connection request. Once you accept my connection request and you reply, then that's when I drop my video to you and do a quick little intro or whatnot to myself, or just put a face with a name. My approach after that is, since you integrating with your outreach tool, I then set you're in a campaign, because you're my ICP. You probably have some kind of trigger, like you're new to your role as a VP of sales or whatnot. So then I use that outreach message to be able to help to be able to grab your to send my first email. And my first email is hyper personalized, so it's going to tie back to that thing. I might say, Mary saw it's Donald from asked you about the job, still hiring or whatever. Mary, we connected on LinkedIn. I was asking you about the roles that you have. I shared it with a couple of people in my network. I did see something that grabbed my attention. And maybe this can help you, or whatever the value prop that you're going to push forward is. In my case, I might say you saw more of your team or go do an outreach. Have you guys started using LinkedIn a little bit more, or are you still, or is that not something high on your radar? Either way, that email has a higher propensity of getting replied back to because of the engagement and attention that I grab. And some people might say, well, Donald, this sounds like it's, a cumbersome process. Well, you can go and do it the other way. But what I found is that when I hyper focus, and I focus on about 30 accounts per month, if I focus on that 30 account and I'm multi-threading in that account using this approach, I get way better engagement, way better conversation. And then my second, third, fourth email in my outreach sequence are focused on the role rather than that individual. But that very first one is the one that I hyper personalized towards that conversation that I had before.
Love it. Love it. So talk to me about video. Let's dig into that for a second. So definitely sound way more involved. I think here's my general theme of things. Yes, email, it's not going away, but it's way more saturated. You got to put in the effort. I like a couple things that you did that you went through, but I want to dig in on. So one, you're going after people who are active and posting. That is under your target ICP, right? So you're more likely to get a response because you did the work. You're going and putting in the effort to engage. And also, you're doing the video. So how do you do the video and, not spend all your time doing that? Are you using some tools or anything to kind of help you shortcut that?
Yeah, the easiest way to do it, and if you're trying to get it done properly, what I recommend is just use your phone. LinkedIn has their native app, and this way the person isn't leaving the platform, or they don't have to click on a link to go pull up like another video tool. Most of them have a link, like say whatever other video platforms tools that you might take a peek at. But I like to just use the native app. And again, it's not all, I'm reaching out to maybe like 30 people or maybe 60 or so people. I'm not doing that all in one day. But a simple video, and my thing with it is tie back to whatever that conversation started with, that connection request. I'd say, hey, I just want to put a face with a name. And I try to do it like in a natural situation, like I might be in my office, or perhaps I'm, walking to the car or whatever. But if I can just be a human and just send out a couple of these messages, maybe I'm waiting for my kid at soccer practice or whatever. Send out a few of these messages, those video messages, and just introduce myself to folks. Takes like 10 seconds. But that allows me to start the dialogue. And more than likely, people will reply back to me, I didn't know this was possible. Cool. Thanks for the video. Makes it personal. But again, I'm just trying to get engagement. The first step is to grab attention. Second step is engagement. Once you have people engage, it's easier to start conversation, and conversation leads to appointments and opportunities.
Love it. Love it. And I like the fact that you're using your phone, and keeping everything LinkedIn native. And in general, my 2 cents, and you probably experience, is like, keep it native. Every platform promotes native over anything else. And it's like, not just you get better results, they usually promote it. And sometimes you get the lift, like, back when like LinkedIn publishing came out, when they started creating long form content, they pushed the heck out of that stuff. Like LinkedIn newsletters, everything native generally works better. You think this? Any other tips to share or anything else that you want to share on this?
Yeah. So when it comes to, yeah, and so go back to the native idea, it's like give people what they want. So give the platforms what they're looking for. The other part that I talk to sellers about is creating content. Because go back what we said, and I'm not telling you need to become a YouTube star or do some TikTok dance or any garbage like that. But LinkedIn right now, they are pushing this idea. It's in beta, so not everyone has it. But you can do like you can still do video on LinkedIn, but they have a tab at the bottom of the phone with the beta, whoever has it now, that it's like TikTok or like Instagram, where they have videos going over and over and over again. So I encourage sellers to post once a week on LinkedIn, at least once a week on LinkedIn. Because if you think about the ICP that you have, they have challenges and you have answers to those challenges. Typically, it's the top of the funnel challenges or challenges that people might be, a conversation that they might have prior to even that first disco with you. But in that, what are some of those things that they might think about? Like, you know, let's say CRM, say I sell a CRM. Maybe you're going after SMBs and they're thinking, well, I use Excel documents already. This is super basic, but just go along with it. Maybe Excel is what they're doing. So maybe content around Excel versus, about Excel versus a traditional CRM, or maybe the time that you're going to save. But a simple post that answers that question or any question that they may have, top of funnel, people are more than likely to watch that. And again, don't become a TikTok star, but just put your darn phone up. You guys have $1,000 device in your pocket and just put the screen share on and just talk and just explain something. And even if you're not getting like, tens of thousands of people that are engaging on that, what starts to happen over time, the algorithm, it's a new thing for LinkedIn. It's new for LinkedIn. Just understand this. It's new. So if you're using this and taking advantage of that native capability of sharing video on your feed, again, 44% of executives said that's how they discovered content. And now LinkedIn is going to push that even more so. And if you're consistent with it, obviously more opportunities will come to you. But I caught myself doing this last week, bro, or 2 weeks ago. I was going through the feed and I was looking at some of these people's content, and it wasn't like these people had like tens of thousands of followers, but their content was dope. And then as I clicked on their video, I was like, I want to see more about them. And then I started following them because I'm like, they are sharing stuff that I want to get. And it's the same idea. If I'm selling CRMs and I'm in SMBs or mid-market, let's say SMBs companies, specifically I'm focusing on LinkedIn, the idea is that now that person is going to see me as they're discovering and they're going to connect back to me. And then the last piece is engage. Everyone that connects with you, just engage with them. And it's amazing what happens. But this simple flow, we call it connect, share, and engage. Connect with your ICP, share relevant content, engage with them. It works time and time again. And for your focus accounts, go back to what I said earlier. If you're trying to grab people's attention on a specific focus list, go with the top of idea of share personalized content, something that they're posting, and engage on that, and then use that to be able to start dialogue, which then leads to appointment.
Love it. Love it. Post, share, engage. That's the strategy. Any tips you want to share to leave folks? And I also want to make sure you mention where they can find you and your awesome content.
The one thing I would tell you, because the last piece before, many time I get from sellers, like, I don't know what to share and I don't know what to post. I would say write down the top 10 objections that you get or top 10 questions that you get in a disco. In your initial call with the prospect, what are those top 10 just general questions that they might have? And if you can use that, you have 10 weeks worth of content right there, because you already know the answers to those objections or to those questions. So answer those darn things on a LinkedIn post in a simple video. But again, just don't make it pitchy like, hey, you should buy our service because of this. Like, no, they might be thinking, why should I get your type of solution? Why should I get this ACRM? That's the question you need to answer for them. But do that and you'll be amazed what can happen. And if you want to connect with me, you get the answer already. LinkedIn is where I camp out. It's my jam. You can find me on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. And I also have a podcast called The Sales Evangelist, where we cover a lot of stuff like this as well. So
love it. Thanks, Donald. Appreciate all your hard work. And one last thing you just mentioned. You're validating the problem is a problem for the person you're selling to. If you try to sell your solution and they don't care about the problem, you will never get a sale, right?
come on.
Love it. Awesome. All right. We'll leave you with that.